All right, welcome back to the Daily Facts. And this is part 3 of the Steve Bannon indictment. So we're just going to get right into it. All right. Consistent with that scheme, on or around February 11, 2019, Stephen Bannon and Andrew Badolato, the defendants, caused Nonprofit One to pay Brian Kolfage, the defendant, $100,000 in funds from We Build the Wall. Text messages exchanged between Bannon and Badolato and others confirmed the payment was intended as a salary for Kolfage and that the payment would be funded by We Build the Wall. In particular, in the days prior to the payment, Bannon directed Badolato in a text message to send a wire of cash to Nonprofit One from We Build the Wall, and shortly thereafter, Nonprofit One's bank account received a $250,000 wire from We Build the Wall. No more than a week later, that same bank account was used to make a $100,000 wire transfer to Kolfage. In each of the following 2 months, Bannon again paid Kolfage, each time a $20,000 monthly salary payment consistent with the secret deal Bannon had approved, as described above, using funds that had been wired into Nonprofit One's bank account from We Build the Wall shortly before the payment to Kolfage. When Kolfage later noted in a text message to Badolato that at least in part as a result of these pass-through payments, We Build the Wall would have no disclosure substantial payments to Nonprofit One on tax forms, Badolato replied, better than you or me, LOL, laugh out loud, to conceal the payments Kolfage received from Nonprofit One. Kolfage instructed Badolato that the payment should be made to Kolfage's spouse, and Nonprofit One subsequently issued a Form 1099 falsely stating that it had paid Kolfage's spouse for media. Thereafter, beginning in or around April 2019, and to further conceal payments of We Build the Wall funds to Brian Kolfage, the defendant, his secret monthly salary of approximately $20,000 was passed indirectly through other third-party entities that were purported vendors for We Build the Wall, including one under the control of Timothy Shea, the defendant. Starting in or around March 2019, Shea, who had been involved in early operations of the predecessor campaign to We Build the Wall and was familiar with We Build the Wall's repeated promises that Kolfage in particular would take no salary, proposed in a text message exchange with Kolfage, paying Kolfage and himself out of a veiled shell corporation to conceal the source and nature of the payments. Shea suggested that to conceal transactions were, for instance, $600,000 comes in and he transfers $300,000 to Kolfage, they could create companies that hired Kolfage and Shea for a service like consulting. To further conceal the secret arrangement, Kolfage later told Shea in an email that they could falsely describe the payments from the new shell entity to Kolfage as for social media. Consistent with the scheme detailed above, in or around April 2019, Timothy Shea, the defendant, incorporated an anonymous limited liability corporation, Shell Company One, and then began receiving payments from We Build the Wall, a share of which Shea then paid over to Brian Kolfage, the defendant. For example, on or around April 22, 2019, Shell Company One received a $50,000 wire from We Build the Wall, and 4 days later paid half of that amount to Kolfage. Again, on or around May 21st, 2019, Shell Company One received a $30,000 wire from We Build the Wall, and on or around June 5th, 2019, paid $20,000 to Kolfage. The memo lines on these payments from We Build the Wall to Shell Company One falsely stated, as Kolfage had suggested, that they were for social media accounts and pages when, in fact, neither Colfage nor anyone else had done such work for Shell Company 1. In each instance, Shea kept the remaining balances of money. Moreover, additional $20,000 payments from Shell Company 1 to Colfage and funded by money from We Build the Wall were made in subsequent months until at least October 2019 when, as discussed below, the defendants learned that they might be under criminal investigation. In addition to the payments above, Andrew Battalato, the defendant, also arranged for additional $20,000 salary payments to be made from We Build the Wall to Brian Colfage, the defendant, that were passed through bank accounts under the control of two of Battalato's associates. First, in or around June 2019, and to pay Colfage's $20,000 salary from We Build the Wall for the month of June 2019. Battalato gave a $50,000 check from We Build the Wall to an associate, Associate 1, purportedly for work done for We Build the Wall. Associate 1 then cashed the check and paid $20,000 of the funds to Colfage, keeping the balance. Additionally, in or around late July and early August 2019, Battalato caused We Build the Wall to pay over $150,000 to a construction contractor, Associate 2. Associate 2 then paid $70,000 of those funds to Colfage, another $50,000 of those funds to Battalato, and $20,000 to an attorney working on a matter for Battalato unrelated to We Build the Wall. In total, from the creation of We Build the Wall in January 2019 to in or around October 2019, Brian Colfage, the defendant, received more than $350,000 in donor funds from We Build the Wall, all passed indirectly at the direction and with the assistance of Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, through Nonprofit 1, Shell Company 1, and the accounts controlled by Associate 1 and Associate 2. Colfage then used those funds to pay for his own personal expenses, including, among other purposes, home renovations, payments toward a boat, a luxury SUV, a golf cart, jewelry, cosmetic surgery, personal tax payments, and credit card debt. Moreover, in addition to Brian Colfage, the defendants Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, each received hundreds of thousands of dollars in donor funds from We Build the Wall, which they used to pay for a variety of personal expenses, including, among other things, travel, hotels, consumer goods, and personal credit card debts, in addition to the payments described above to Colfage. With respect to Bannon, in particular, as noted above, Nonprofit 1 received over $1 million from We Build the Wall. And while some of that money was used to pay Colfage, as detailed above, Bannon used a substantial portion of those dollar funds for personal uses and expenses unrelated to We Build the Wall. None of these payments to Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, were ever disclosed to the public. Instead, the defendants repeatedly and intentionally led the public to believe that none of their donations would be used for the personal benefit of the defendants. Indeed, as Colfage noted to Battalato in a text message exchange, as far as the public knows, no one is getting paid and salaries will never be disclosed. The defendant's concealment after learning of the criminal investigation. In or around October 2019, Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, and Andrew Battalato, the defendants, and others learned from a financial institution that We Build the Wall might be under federal criminal investigation. The defendants thereafter took additional steps to conceal the fraudulent scheme detailed above. For example, around that time, and in reaction to the potential investigation, Colfage and Battalato began using encrypted messaging applications on their phones, and We Build the Wall's website was changed to remove any mention of the promise that Colfage was not being compensated, and to add a statement that he would be paid a salary starting in January 2020. Colfage also stopped receiving secret salary payments after this date. Statutory allegations. From at least in or around December 2018 up to and including the date of the filing of this indictment, in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants and others known and unknown, willfully and knowingly did combine, conspire, confederate, and agree together and with each other to commit wire fraud in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1343. It was a part and object of the conspiracy that Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, and others known and unknown, willfully and knowingly having devised and intending to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises would and did transmit and cause to be transmitted by means of wire, radio, and television communication in interstate and foreign commerce, writings, signs, signals, pictures, and sounds for the purpose of executing such scheme and artifice in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1343, to wit, Colfage, Bannon, Battalato, Shea, and others, known and unknown, agreed to make and cause to be made false statements to donors that 100% of the funds donated to We Build the Wall would be used for construction of a wall at the southern border of the United States, and none of the money donated would be used to compensate Colfage. And further was a part and object of the conspiracy that Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, and Andrew Battalato, the defendants, and others known and unknown, willfully and knowingly having devised and intending to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises would and did transmit and cause to be transmitted by means of wire, radio, and television communication in interstate and foreign commerce, writings, signs, signals, pictures, and sounds for the purpose of executing such scheme and artifice in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1343, to wit, Colfage, Bannon, Battalato, and others known and unknown agreed to make and cause to be made false statements to the crowdfunding website about their intended use of donated funds and their intent to implement and adhere to internal controls designed to prevent the misappropriation of money in order to cause the crowdfunding website to release donor funds held by the crowdfunding website to the defendants. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1349. Count 2, conspiracy to commit money laundering. The grand jury further charges. The grand jury incorporates the allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 26 of this indictment as though fully set forth herein. From at least in or around December 2018 up to and including the date of the filing of this indictment, in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Brian Colfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battalato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, and others known and unknown, intentionally and knowingly did combine, conspire, confederate, and agree together and with each other to violate Title 18, United States Code Sections 1956A, 1B, I, and 1957A. It was a part and an object of the conspiracy that Brian Kolfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battolato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants and others known and unknown, in an offense involving interstate and foreign commerce, knowing that the property involved in certain financial transactions, to wit, wire transfers and checks, represented the proceeds of some form of unlawful activity, would and did conduct and attempt to conduct such financial transactions which in fact involved the proceeds of specified unlawful activity, to wit, the conspiracy to commit wire fraud alleged in count one of this indictment, knowing that the transactions were designed in whole and in part to conceal and disguise the nature, the location, the source, the ownership, and the control of the proceeds of the specified unlawful activity in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1956A1BI. It was a further part and an object of the conspiracy that Brian Kolfage, Stephen Bannon, Andrew Battolato, and Timothy Shea, the defendants, and others known and unknown within the United States, knowingly would and did engage and attempt to engage in monetary transactions and criminally derived property of a value greater than $10,000, and that was derived from specified unlawful activity, to wit, the conspiracy to commit wire fraud alleged in count one of this indictment in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1957A. Okay, we're going to leave it there for now, and we'll pick up on the final part 4 in the next review of this indictment. Thanks for stopping by the Daily Facts. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. We'll talk again soon. Bye.